Hope everybody had a good start to their week. Just as a heads up, I'm going to be out of town Wednesday and Thursday, so there'll be no streams. But you know you can do during that time. You can go back, you can watch some of the cast, you can go and listen or watch episode 100 of the podcast. You go check that out over at my YouTube or anywhere you like to listen to podcasts. Any support is always welcome. Hope everybody is having a good night, though. And we are going to hop into these games pretty much immediately here. So let's get into game number 1 of Oklahoma State University versus Marshall. And with that being said, shout out to NECC Esports for joining with Albion Giants League to bring this collegiate league and make it a possibility, because it's always awesome to be able to support college esports and see them grow. And we want to keep helping doing that. That's why we're casting these games here, is to promote the collegiate league and hopefully get them some more recognition for the great games that they have. Let's hop into game number 1. And some quick bans here. Straight into Hades and a Surtur ban. Surtur has been pretty good so far here in the solo lane. Not surprised to see him go. Obviously, if you see someone that has a good Hades, not bad idea to get him off the board. Super annoying, all the mitigations with this ultimate. And can just be a bully in the early game and then, set up his team for the late game. Really good god. Followed by a Tiamat ban. Not surprised to see that come off the list here. As it's been a really impressive mage meta with Tiamat, Merlin, Freya, Sol, Oleron, Poseidon, Alquang, you name it, they're probably good in the mid lane and another role. But over on the other side for OSU, they ban out the Neja, which I've been seeing this pick on the rise as of late. Not surprised to see you get to single somebody out, take them up in the air. When they come back down, they're probably going to die if they haven't already. Followed up by Sol, probably the best known magical ADC, followed up by Freya. A little bit surprised not to see the Oleron ban, but, a lot of people don't value Oleron the way I do with that teamfight ultimate. So looking at the Sol Freya, these high burst magical ADCs that can kind of just bippity boppity boop you, taken off the board early on here. But the first pick for Marshall is going to be the Sasano. Another devastating assassin that we've seen on the rise as of late. He's been really able to kind of just dominate what he wants to do in the lanes. And being able to pull and get damage off has always been really good. And then you have the knock with the Typhoon. So curious to see what they draft around this Sasano. I think it's a pretty safe early pick that if you don't want to give too much away about your draft, you can take. But I also don't think he's so OP that he's like the first pick you need. So I want to see what Marshall drafts around this. On the other side, OSU picks up Kronos and Giannis. Go ahead and showing their cards for their carry in mid from the looks of it. But then over on the other side, we have Khepri and we have Oleron locked in here. There's the Olo that I said, I think a lot of teams neglect to put respect on his name sometimes. He has a huge team fight ultimate. You're going to follow that up with a Khepri that can revive. And Kepri's kind of a good counter here to this Kronos that, you might go into a team fight. Oleron is close to getting dead or another god on your team. You throw the revive on him. It's kind of like you have your own Kronos ult going on there. Kronos able to rewind time, though, and reposition themselves. And that's followed up with an Achilles. Really a strong drop by both teams here. Heading into the second ban phase, where we see a Humbats taken off the table immediately. And now Marshall's going to be doing some thinking about what they want to take off the board next for their first ban in phase number 2. Not surprised to see the Humbats ban. I'm looking at this team, and if I see a Sasano and then I see Khepri Oleron, I'm like, okay, obviously Humbats could do a lot there. But, where is Humbats going in that situation? A little bit surprised to see that banned away. Obviously, OSU maybe knows something about Marshall that I don't, and that's why they took away the Humbats. Maybe they suspect the Sasano not to be a jungler and played in another role like mid, which could happen. I'm just surprised to see that Humbats is the god that's taken away here. Marshall follows that up with their quick bans of Thor and Thanatos. Really strong junglers right now. I don't think I have to talk about their semi-global ultimates, execute, dunk, wall, so on and so forth. It's there. They both are just good. And on the following side, the last ban for OSU here is going to be this Ao Kwong. Ao Kwong, huge ban rate, really, really good right now. If you have not played against Ao Kwong, consider yourself lucky, as Ao Kwong tends to just absolutely body people. He is feast or famine, but he is mostly feast and less famine. And then OSU goes ahead and locks in the Finra here. And with this draft, I mean, a lot of good single-target CC here for OSU. Kind of curious to see how they capitalize off of all of it. And they're going to have a lot of rotation potential with this Giannis to get into fights. So on the other side here, we see a Chalk locked in, which is really surprising. Chalk, never really in the meta as of late. Kind of just played from time to time. But then we see the Willish Hover, which means this Sasano is not in the jungle. I'm assuming it is Sasano mid. With an Awilish jungle, and you have a lot of knockups going on here. Oleron has a knockup, Chalk has a knockup. Guess who else has a knockup? Sasano. We already talked about that. So this Awilish could really have some good potential of ultimates here to pull people in. And then, if it decides to dive in, you have that Kepril to save him. So we'll have to see how this pans out heading into game number 1. But both drafts really, really solid here for both the collegiate teams. And, if you're new around here, and you're like, man, what happens when a Kepri's locked in? That's a great question. We go and play the hit song, Kepri Bezos. So enjoy that while we log into game number 1 here. And I hope everybody enjoys this game. And if you have a particular pick you think is going to win, or team you think is going to win, put it in the chat and let us know who you're supporting in this game number 1.
SUPPRT, oh hey, I hope he's on my team. Kefri Bezos. SUPPRT, oh hey, I hope he revives me. Kefri Bezos. Come on, Kefri, you can do it. Release OP and there's something to it. Met us, why? Shell us now. When I die, you're the rising dawn now. War flag and benevolence and gift. Other gods can get abducted, steal their kills, take their titan. Come on, Kefri, get him!
All right, if I just ruined Jeffrey Bezos by Bo Burnham for you, I'm sorry. But anytime a Kepri's locked in, we got to get that going. Shouts to Bo Burnham for that, amazing song. And really setting it up perfectly for me to make a parody song about Kepri. Can't go wrong with that. Always a good time. But if I've got that stuck in your head, I do not apologize. That is just an unfortunate result of that song, unfortunately. Now, let's get these gods organized where they're going to be. I think that's going to be right. Looks like it. I am curious to see, and this is something I talk about every time we get a cast going, is what is the jungle pull at the beginning of the game going to be like? What do teams value? Do they value the triple pull on the left side where duo lane's at? Do they just do one at a time? Do they do a double pull? Does jungle go left? I'm always curious about the first 3 to 4 minutes of the game and how the junglers are going to handle it. What's the plan? Where is pressure going to be put? But a lot of the times is we'll see teams choose different strats here at the beginning, where we see, for instance, OSU starting 3 people over on the duo side so they can group all those camps together and clear them pretty quickly. I'm assuming Poncho is going to go ahead and gank the duo lane early if I had to guess. But over here for Marshall, we see them go the 2-camp strat, which is the safer strat right now. We do see some teams have their support pull purple and bring them all together. That's kind of risky, especially since the green buff now has an HP 5 buff that heals all of the other camps. So something to watch out for when you see these camps be pulled is watch the health bars and see the safety or lack thereof that may cause by pulling the green buff into these other camps. Buff that came through the green buff back in the main 10.2 patch. So keep an eye out. But as you can see here, look at all the farm is cleared here for OSU, and they're going to get aggressive. They might look for a purple buff invade off the Rift. Unfortunately, they're not going to be able to do that, but they're not knowing that Poncho's here, and the Sunder comes through. There's the stun. Hydra is taking a lot of damage early, and this might be first blood less than a minute into the game. Poncho goes for it, gets it, dies immediately, and the first blood goes over to Oklahoma State University, but quickly followed with a kill onto this Oleron, and I think that's worth it. You get a nice little gold lead, but I don't think you want the kill to go to that Oleron, unfortunately. but this is going to allow a lot of pressure for OSU over in that duo lane. And this is going to open up some starts for the next game, too, because now, if you're Marshall, you have to think about the fact that how that went early on in the game. Will OSU do it the next game? Or where is Poncho going to put that aggression early? And now we see in response, Dark Exodus making the rotation over, looking for a possible gank, decides to back off of it on the Awilish here. Standing on the ward, so they knew the Awilish was there. And, you know, Nova here on the Sasano mid, just kind of a crazy pick. Not kind of surprised to see Assassins in mid still when you see how good mages are currently. But we'll see how it goes here. I'm curious to see, does Deceitful Ducky go for the tablet build? And if that's the case, then we get to watch and see how many stacks are online throughout the whole entire game and talk about it, because that's always a good point of contention. And so we get to go over here and see Great Value fighting against Free Bowling here, and now Dark Exodus makes the rotation in. Great Value might be in trouble in this soul lane, but a great stun comes through to keep him alive. Oh, no, Dark Exodus, the Panthers off the mark. Great Value might just get to live here, which is kind of wild. After stepping up so far in the great positioning there by Dark Exodus, they're just not able to capitalize on that gank. It becomes a waste of time, but not only is it a waste of time, Poncho's here. They're going to look to punish Dark Exodus, and I think they might get it. There's the flip, but it's not going to be enough. The Wheelish will fall, and the counter gank just better here by Poncho. Still in the mid lane. Things are pretty even here. Mana in favor of Deceitful Ducky, but other than that, everything else is about even. And with that early spill over, you know, in the duo side from Marshall, they have recovered dramatically here. They're a full level up, and they're pushing this tower when they get the chance. It's kind of surprising after taking that early spill there. For Hydra, I'm really surprised. I mean, it's a level, you know, probably more like 75% of a level early on, but that's pretty significant after they got that early first blood. Now both teams just go back to farming. We take a look at the items here. A little bit surprised to see Conduit Gem here for Coop Stick. You know, not an item we don't typically see a ton of over in the duo lane when a mage is picked, but not bad. It's going to help with that jungle clear. It's going to, you know, just help with clear in general, make that online faster. Other than that, pretty standard looks here. I do really like what Free Bowling's here on this chalk with the Tainted Steel. Looking to get anti-heal online early. You're facing into an Achilles. You know, they have, you look at, a lot of people don't realize Ares has a huge HP 5 buff that you're affecting. Kronos has a heal, but to get so does Fenrir. So to getting that Tainted Steel early, going to be really good. And also, Tainted Steel, one of the best prot items in the entire game, which people tend to forget about. So keep an eye out for that to be upgraded later on in the game and see how that goes. But teams are still, you know, just kind of chilling here. The only people really fighting are going to be over here on the solo side, where they just kind of continue their slap fight. Other than that, pretty standard builds across the board here. Nothing too crazy. Gonna wait and see if some items come online here and what the plan is. But in the mid lane, Deceitful Ducky could be under attack. Good pre-beads there to avoid the knock-up into the Wheelish pool. Dark Exodus just has to walk away and go for some camps instead, looking for the kill there. And Deceitful Ducky just plays it so well. Really, you see a lot of people there. They'll eat the knock-up, and then they'll just die afterwards because they don't beads. And that was just a great use of beads right there. Here comes Poncho looking for a target, and they're going to find Dark Exodus. The Wheelish is in trouble. The flames are good by the Ares, and Poncho puts down Dark Exodus. This has been a rough start here for the Wheelish. Now down 0-2 and a level in the jungle, and that's a scary time when you're against this. When you're against this Fenrir who loves to punish early game. You know, the ultimate's online. Poncho's gonna be able to make a lot of plays at that, and this could just get worse for Marshall if they cannot slow down this Fenrir pick. But shoutouts to Great Value also having a level lead here. They were able to get that counter gank earlier when Dark Exodus made the rotation. But now Hydra making the way over to the solo lane to help make sure the blue buff is secured here. And this is some interesting positioning here by Marshall. I don't know if they know that Poncho and Great Value have stepped up. And now Marshall have found out that that's what's happening here. And Poncho is a scary time. Can you jump? The beads is good. There's the jump, but the beads are down. They get pulled in. Dark's Exodus just baits it out, gets the kill, the pull back in. It's not just him that's going to fall. Now Great Value will be the next one as the ultimate's used to try to get away, but it's not going to be enough as Great Value is using the juke shoes. The Nikes are on, but is it going to be enough? The pull back in, and finally they will get Great Value off the positioning there of OSU, which just really went in favor for Marshall there. Just unfortunate happenstance. But on the duo side of the map, this has led for them to try to make a play, and they don't get the steal on the purple buff, unfortunately. But again, there's still a really good lead here for Irise on this Oleron. Right now, you know, gold in favor for OSU, but level leads are kind of just sporadically everywhere, where there's a level lead in solo for Marshall as well as duo in the carry role. But then, you know, there's a jungle lead for OSU, so it's kind of surprising. We'll just have to see how this ends up panning out here over the next few minutes. I imagine both teams want to look for some sort of pick to set up this Gold Fury. They want to take that down just so they can get the extra gold in their pockets and then get the other types of Gold Fury spawning. They want to see Primal so they can do extra damage to jungle camps if they get it. And they want to see that Oni Fury to get the empowered minion waves to help push towers. So that's what they're looking for right now. Is there a pick they can get that will set up some objectives for them? Pyromancer hasn't gotten a chance to spawn yet. I'd imagine they look there as well, depending on where the pick on the map is. And right now, here comes Oleron's biggest counter. Fenrir, Poncho jumps in. There's no stun. Here's the chase. The autos are good. The brutalize is good. There's the Ragnarok. And the Ragnarok comes through. They get the Oleron up for it. Irise could be in big trouble here. Somehow is still alive. Is almost able to exchange the kill. Poncho gets really, really low, so as Koopsik gets the ultimate off. The reset is good, and now you have Marshall chasing down Poncho, trying to get this Fenrir, and does. The Giannis ult there was good, looking to try to do something with it, but now left-hand Morty uses those chains to try to pull somebody in. It doesn't get any value for it, unfortunately. Deceitful, just great positioning here to try to get some damage off, and now, unfortunately, left-hand Morty is going to get put down on the left side of the jungle from the looks of it. They are chasing this kill hard, which is kind of surprising because you figure they want the objective. Now they get beads off Deceitful for that, looking for that little bit of extra poke, and they will not go for a Gold Fury pull here. They will let it just stay there, and they'll do their own thing. Deceitful Ducky, great portal, great dodge of Hydra's dash. Oh my goodness. There's the good damage by the Giannis. Giannis then gets rooted. What is the plan here? I mean, Deceitful Ducky just juking away, making sure not to eat too much damage here from the Wheelish or the Khepri. Not that Kepri's going to do a lot of damage, but he definitely set up a lot of damage. And now it's just kind of back to Farm City. You figure after they got the couple of picks, that's where they'd want to go, is towards that Gold Fury. Marshall down about 600 gold right now. And that's mostly First Blood gold, but, you know, the farming here by OSU has been very good as well. They just need to be able to capitalize on, you know, with their positioning if they can get it. Unfortunately, that hasn't been the case. Marshall doing a very good job here of just really counter-engaging where OSU wants to be. Now we're back to Farm City. Nothing too crazy happening here. Build-wise, we do see the Tablet of Destinies here for Deceitful Ducky. You need those 50 stacks by damaging enemy gods with abilities. And we'll be keeping track. We're at 9 right now. We'll keep track of how that's go. This is going to be a Book of Toth slowly but surely. Get that Hydra's online for the extra auto damage after using the ability here for Poncho. And so far, so good. Shout out to Left Hand Morty also having, the prophetic built and getting stacks right now. Let's see how long it takes to get that stacked. Overall, just solid builds across the board here. We see the double Transcendence. As a fight breaks out in the mid, there's the pull. There's the Deceitful Ducky ultimate, but it's off the mark. And really, there's not going to be much to happen here from the looks of it. Poncho literally just running by, acting like no one's there. But a root here by Hydra might bait Poncho back in. Takes it for a second, says, no, I'm good. It's just going to back away. Dark Exodus looking for some good positioning here on the Wheelish, looking to see, hey, can I walk up and possibly get some sort of knock-up or leap out that's going to lead us to getting a kill. And here it is, Dark Exodus looking for something. The Sunder is on both the Khepri and the Wheelish, and the Wheelish eating a ton of damage here. Oh my goodness, Ragnarok comes through, throw down the flames. There's the Khepri ultimate. Now, the revive is good, pulling Dark Exodus all the way to Khepri, and now the Wheelish just gets to walk away for free, and this is what you have to worry about when a Khepri is on the enemy team, is that revive is a cleanse. Khepri can just run away and take that teammate wherever he may go, and that just paid off in absolute dividends for Hydra here, allowing Dark Exodus to live to see another day. Does count as a TKO here for OSU, just taking the Wheelish out of the fight for the time being. Could be of some use, but right now they're not able to do anything with that. Immediately they decide that they're going to look towards this carry for Marshall. Irise could be in trouble walking up to this purple buff. We'll have to see. Poncho is spotted out. They know that he's there. There's the leap. It's going to be stolen away. The purple buff is gone. But now Irise trying to sing back damage on the Poncho. Hydra's is here. And that was a great brutalize, but the better abduct by Hydra. The pullback in to take the life of Poncho. And here it is. There's the reset. Coopstick looking for something. Going to find some good damage. They get the beads off of Irise. But at the cost of what is Deceitful Ducky with a crazy amount of peel onto the Wheelish there that I think could have definitely caused some problems for OSU. And a little battle over by the purple buff leads to a lot of nothing. Purple buff is stolen, but that's about it. Nothing too crazy. And as we're 12, 13 minutes into this game, the gold lead is pretty much non-existent right now. Really, these teams still, no one has pulled one of these neutral objectives. No Gold Fury, no Pyromancer to get the Runic Bomb that's going to, damage towers or, do some nice true damage knockback to enemies. Obviously, Fire Giant, not to that point where we can pull that yet. So Poncho getting aggressive now on the red buff, steals that away too. The buffs for Marshall are under attack, and they do not have a way to counter that right now. So far, everything is pretty smooth sailing. And if you're Marshall, this counter-engage idea has been working pretty well for you. You just kind of have to stick with it. OSU has, had some aggressive positioning that they've had to pay the price for, but so far, nothing egregious by either team here. Build-wise, everything's still looking pretty good, pretty standard of what we like to see. Breastplates of regrowth. An early item here for both solos. They do have that heal that's going to give them a little bit more movement speed. Gives them a little bit of cooldown. Follow those up by Glad Shields. Really, the only difference for them is their starter items. But now we do see a variance in what they'll build now as Deceitful Ducky gets the ult off. It hits Dark Exodus with it. What a great ultimate there to at least poke out the Wheelish and then force out the assassins for Marshall here. Now they're pathing back in. This way you have to work out. The pick style of Marshall right now is dangerous and has to be somewhat respected here. You have to worry about the Sasano Wheelish combo. But they back off. Nothing to find here. There's the beads from Deceitful Ducky. There's the chains. Now, the Ragnarok by Poncho helps avoid Nova's knockup. The Typhoon just, does some damage, but that's about it. And then Hydra saves the life of Nova. Hydra getting great value out of these ultimates thus far. Saving the life of teammates just through cleanse and through just an actual revive. But now, seen across the board, everything is still pretty even here. We'll have to say we have Book of Thoth and a Polynomicon here for Coopstick on the Chronos. Going to get a good bit of lifesteal going with these books. But then on the other side, you already have this Oleron has Bancroft's Town, has Telekines, has Spear of the Magus. All lifesteal and lots of damage. Something you love to see if you're an Oleron player is ways that you can just do a lot of damage. But we do see a difference for the supports here where, you know, you have left-hand Morty rushing the Prophetic Cloak, wants to get those stacks online as soon as possible. But the other side, Hydra says, I value the Gauntlet of Thebes more to share my prots and get it stacked. I'll build the Prophetic Cloak later. The Prophetic Cloak is going to stack based off ability damage, but also is going to allow you to get mitigations and stuff online later on if you meet the protection threshold that item has. Other than that, nothing super duper interesting. We do see that Deceitful has 14 stacks on that Tablet of Destinies, which I always say is an item that I do like to keep track of, because if you're going to buy it, you need it to get stacked, and we're going to know if you're hitting enemies or not. But I also want to shout out the fact that right now we do see that the Ares has the Sunder. And the Sunder is an item that I think is going to be on the rise here in support, as I see more and more supports building it over time. We do have a pause that comes out. Luckily, we're in a replay, so we can fast forward through that. So, okay, we almost messed that up. Good news, we didn't. Fight breaks out mid. Nova gets good use, but a better Aegis here by Deceitful. And there's the Aegis for Nova, trying to avoid some of that damage from the tower, but Nova is just getting under attack here. But then, oh, big brain play by Nova. Runs and dies in the tower so they can use the Khepri ultimate to just teleport from tier 1 to tier 1. What a big brain play here. You don't see that often. That is a fantastic play on the Sasano here. Wow. Shout outs to that. That is not something you see too often. Too many people get ulted and then run away from the damage. Nova says, nah, I'm going to go die and get pulled back to where Hydra is. And it's deep under the tier 1 tower in mid. So that teleport going from one tier 1 tower all the way to the other. Pretty crazy play there by Nova. And now Coopstick making the rotation here. Looking to fight Irisay. Irisay spots on the ward, and then no, Coopstick just runs over and saves the tower, avoids the fight altogether, says I'm not interested in this solo boxing match. You know, all that lifesteal is probably pretty dissuading. But that will come to an end sooner or later, I'm sure. It's still worth noting, OSU still, you know, a slight lead here, but really the only thing that's been taken off the table so far is a Pyro. They do have that Runic Bomb that's going to allow them to do some pretty easy damage here. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. It's going to allow them to do some damage to a structure, about 1,000. Or they can use it as true damage and a knock-up against enemy gods for a lot less damage, but still good. Poncho gets absolutely poked out there. The Typhoon comes through, and boom, Poncho goes down. That was the target they wanted here. This is going to be a full send on Gold Fury for Marshall. They do have to be careful here, though. There could be a Deceitful Ducky ultimate coming through to try to snipe this Gold Fury, and let's see if that's what's going to happen. He was burning slowly but surely, but no, it's going to fall into Marshall's hands. It's going to give them the gold lead they've been wanting. Coopstick gets absolutely shredded and is able to ult out and just rewind time and reset that fight. And they'll lose the Gold Fury, they'll lose Poncho, but that's going to be it here. It could have definitely been worse. So, good news for Marshall that they get that objective off the map finally. But Nova uses a beats here. And then Hydra pops the ultimate just to be safe, than rather safe than sorry. A little bit surprising to see. This gives a lot of pressure over to OSU. They know the Khepri ultimate's down. They know Bees is down on the Sasano. They're going to look for a play. They want to get a pick. If they get a pick, then they're going to be able to run it down and go to Gold Fury, which they want to do. They want that extra power. They want the extra, you know, just everything Fire Giant provides for your siege. They want to be more of a threat, and Nova under absolute distress here. Has to ult to hit Coopstick. Coopstick gone. Left-hand Morty is being looked at, but unfortunately for Marshall is just going to get to walk away. But they do get the pick that they wanted. They pick the enemy ADC, and Coopstick is off the map. So the question is how does OSU respond here? what is their plan? And Left-Hand Morty and Deceitful Ducky are running past the Fire Giant pit. They're looking and standing and seeing, hey, is there anything around that we can take? Is there a kill we can get? Is there a buff that we can claim? And currently the answer is no, as Irise is fighting Poncho. Poncho not on the winning side of that battle currently. This Fenrir has a tough time boxing Oleron, but does shut down the Oleron ultimate in a team fight by being able to pick up Oleron and run him on out of there. So that Ragnarok is useful, but trying to get the 1v1 going it's going to be a rough time when Oleron has, you know, a billion healing items. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. This, you know, there's a billion healing items on this man. The healing is going to be absolutely insane. You want to take a fight against Oleron when that Contagion, Divine, or Brawlers is around. Preferably more than one of them to really just shut down that healing. Now the rotation from OSU is here. There's the chains. Left-Hand Morty gets a great pull here. Coopstick is the first one to get a kill. Dark Exodus gets stunned by Poncho, but will get out. Hydra gone. The ultimate was on Irise. Poncho finishes off Dark Exodus. The Ragnarok's here. The pull is better. Irise now is the next one in trouble. The Oleron ultimate is down, and it's 5 here for OSU, and they are running it towards the Fire Giant. They want this buff. They want to be able to push down towers faster, win team fights harder than they just did. And OSU is on a spree here of running it down. This game just got blown open with that fight. It doesn't seem that way gold-wise, but give it a moment, and it will once the towers start to fall. Great peel here from Deceitful Ducky. They've left Poncho there just to solo the Fire Giant there for a minute by themselves. And free bowling will get to escape, but OSU gets the Fire Giant. And not only that, they'll go ahead and fill their appetites by getting the Pyromancer and another Runic Bomb. 2 Runic Bombs in favor of OSU is going to feel pretty good on these sieges going forward. And you have an Oni Fury spawning soon, and if you can get that, you have empowered minions, you have 2 Runic Bombs, a Fire Giant buff, and a Dream. It's going to be feeling pretty good here for Oklahoma State University. And now OSU looking and poking around the Gold Fury pit. Says, hey, maybe we could pull this too. Left-Hand Morning, great value. Do go ahead and pull it. It is burning extra slow because, you know, it's 2 tanks. But now you have Dark Exodus stepping up, Hydra stepping up, and a pause comes through. This fight will be delayed momentarily, but give me a second. And we'll do this fast forward thing. It's my understanding there was a couple pauses during this game number 1. Due to some ping issues. But we will keep this going with our fast forward here. Hopefully we won't miss anything. We didn't miss in that little jump in time, but to be fair, I felt like I was pretty quick there on the mouse. So we'll have to see how this goes. Really interesting positioning here by both teams. There we go. And OSU pushes them off just entirely, is able to get the Oni Fury for just absolutely free. And the Fire Giant buff will buy you that time. You'll be able to go ahead, have a Fire Giant buff. You're like, I can fight you. I have a buff that, you know, gives me everything I need and more with the power and all that good stuff. But not only that, you're like, go ahead, step up and fight me. We're not only ahead in gold, we're ahead in levels at this point to some extent. And that's huge. I have Runic Bombs. Like, I'm willing to fight over, you know, objectives here. And now it's the Tier 2 siege that's going to happen. OSU looking to try to get this tower off the map. And they're going to have to be a little bit weary here, as Irise does have the ultimate, and that Oleron ult when a team fight can be a game changer. Typhoon goes. There's the knockups, but there's no follow-up. Now Nova is looking to try to kill somebody. Deceitful Ducky is in trouble. Irise pops the ultimate, puts down the rectangular field, and says, bye, Deceitful. And who is going to be next? Poncho actually turns this around. They're turning around OSU. picks up 2. It's now a 2 for 2. And Coopstick picks up another. And then there's the Ragnarok by Poncho. It's Dark Exodus. That's the next one to be looked at. The jump over the wall is good, but it's not going to be good enough to escape the Fenrir from the looks of it. Killing spree for Poncho. And now you have Coopstick in great value pushing down a Phoenix, and it's going to be quick with you have a Kronos that's just chunking away. They are running in. They're looking to see, can they end the game? And they're going to try. Free bowling, looking to try to stop it. But now Poncho's here too. It's 3v1 and a Titan. And the Titan is falling pretty quick considering there is 2 towers up and 2 Phoenixes. Great value is low. Coopstick says, hey, you know what's cool? I can ult and get out of this, reset, and we can still fight. And they do. OSU takes game number 1. Really great play there by both teams. I mean, this game was like relatively even until just a interesting play that went wrong there for Marshall. I mean, up in that point, it was just dead even, and then they just had a strange fight go wrong and couldn't recover. OSU pushed them off a Gold Fury with that Oni Fury call. Really helped them. Chalk played pretty well. I mean, 1-0-3, not bad. I mean, you got to feel pretty good about that with Chalk. I do think there's some things to look at here and kind of question. Is there something we need to ban? Do we feel pretty good about our drafts? I mean, the areas kind of tied everything in for OSU. And, they had a lot of single target CC, and they're like, hey, let's get at areas and just pull everybody. If their beads are down, then our other CC's good and capitalize on this. But I kind of have to shout out Hydra for the ults there. And I mean, just some crazy ults. The ult onto Nova, absolutely insane. And we'll be heading into game number 2 in just a second. Let's look at the details page. You guys can take a look at that for a second. I want to say hello to Vio in chat. What's up, Mac and Cheese? Yeah, we are casting tonight. Typically, I have another person with me, but unfortunately, wasn't able to get a secondary caster, so I'm doing the production and casting myself. And then, what's up, Sly? How you doing? All right, let's head into game number 2 here. I think my voice is holding up okay, so I don't really need a break at the moment. Game number 2, 129, 728, 728. I almost messed it up. 3764. There we go. If anybody's missing out, I will, that is not right. Hold up. I ended up in someone else's game. Super sick. Don't worry, guys. I'm smart. Oh, I see. I misclicked one button. I ended up in someone's Joust game, dude. That's wild. I've never had that happen. That's crazy. 12972837764. That's crazy. They had a spectator for that. Like, that's just wild. We're gonna hop into game number 2. I clicked the right numbers this time. So easy game, easy life. But if you're wondering, hey, will this be posted on YouTube tomorrow? It will be posted on YouTube along with my other cast. I think I have one other game that needs to be post from this weekend. Those will be on YouTube probably sometime tomorrow once they get uploaded. I might edit tonight and then upload them. If not, I'll edit them tomorrow, get them posted for you all. So keep an eye out for that. And if you haven't listened to the podcast, you want to go listen to episode 100, check it out. Go check out everything in the leak tree there. But let's head into game number 2 here. Let's update the spectator real quick. Just with the score line, make sure everything's good. And we see Marshall here go, you know what? Don't want to see the Hades. Don't want to see the Surtur still. But I don't want to see that Kronos either. So Coopstick getting some respect on the name. And over on the OSU side, we're going to stick with the Neja, Soul, and Freya band. All fantastic bands here. But Tiamat was left open. And this time, Marshall goes, hey, we're going to pick something that we feel is really, really good in the meta that's strong. And it's going to be Tiamat. Tiamat kind of goes burr in multiple ways right now. Usually a really good builder of Tablet of Destinies and Book of Thoth. Let's see if that's the route that they decide to take here. I imagine Nova probably likes that build as a mid laner because it is pretty popular. But as long as I see a Divine Rune, will be fine. I think anti-heal is especially important right now, even though a lot of people don't like to build it. And since Coopstick isn't going to have the Chronos, it's a Cernanos that's locked in here. And I imagine that is going to go the way of the carry. And it's going to be followed up with another Achilles pick here. I like this draft so far. You have two pretty good CCs that can be single target or AoE. And now Marshall hovering in Alpoash. I don't even know where this would go. There's no shot this is real. So I'm not going to analyze this too much. There we go. It's an Ishtar. And Ishtar is probably the other considered top meta hunter. Both Ishtar and Kurnanos been nerfed recently and try to push them out of the meta that they've so long been in. And not only that, like most people find them to be frustrating to play against. But this is an interesting set of picks here because Ishtar, in a lot of ways, I think is probably better than Kurnanos. But really and truly, why isn't anybody picking Rama? Like, Rama is just good. I think Rama's probably better than both, but we get the Ishtar, we get the Kurnos. Kurnos with that cripple field, that built-in lifesteal, prot shred, the glaive, just doing some nice cleave damage. Overall, just a good, has a good team fight ultimate, turning people into boars. Can't go wrong with that. And then Ishtar with these blades of light, the different types of autos you can set up, the dash allows to play really aggressive here. Both of these are going to be aggressive ADC picks. We'll have to see which one pans out. And then the support's locked in here. It's Yamoja. Always a good time. Doesn't matter how many times you nerf her. Has the heals, has the River's Rebuke, has the Riptides, has to be good. Followed up by Bacchus, which if you'd asked me about Bacchus last season, I'd say, you're not going to see a lot of him, not super great, but has been on a tear this season after, some slight tweaks to his kit with some buffs, and, anti-heal is good. So just going to keep throwing that out there. Marshall comes through and bans away the Sasano. They don't want to see that in the enemy jungle, so they get rid of it. And then OSU responds with banning Thor. Talked about it last game. That global presence that Thor offers, that semi-global ultimate, is really hard to deal with if Thor gets online to any capacity. It doesn't have to be a huge lead. It can be any lead that's going to end up helping here. And again, OSU says, we don't want to see the Humbats. We do not want his baguettes. We'd like him to stay away. So Humbats will, in fact, have to, fear his own evil on his own and stay in the banned column as Marshall thinks to lock in their last ban here. And I'm kind of curious on what it's going to be. I don't know if they go jungle again. I have imagined that, Fenrir, yeah, there it is. I was going to have to say, imagine that Fenrir is going to come off the table. It played pretty well in Poncho's hands last game. And that's exactly what they banned. I'm not surprised at all that did not get through. Fenrir, just good at many things. At many, many things. But this leads us into the first pick of phase number 2 for OSU here. And the question is, what do they want to pick? What is it do they want their mid? Or do they want a jungler? And it's Ao Kuang, the feast or famine magical assassin. Well, I call him a magical assassin. He's not really a magical assassin, but, he kind of is. If this god gets online early, it is going to be an absolute monster of a time. But over for Marshall, they lock in Daji, a great beans burner, a great jungler altogether. But then they hover Guan Yu and instead lock the Chalk again. And I can't say anything about free bowling Chalk. Went undying during game number 1. Just unfortunately wasn't help his team prevail to a victory. Instead fell short. And the last pick here for OSU is going to be this Yu Huang pick. Probably the safest mid laner in the game right now. Just being able to get up in the air and get out of things is pretty good for a kit, some would say. Let's head into game number 2. With OSU up 1-0 against Marshall. All right, chat. We're in game number 2 here. Sorry, I took a slight little silence there. Wanted to give myself a moment to drink some water, rest the voice while we wait for this game to start. But I want to remind everybody what OSU did last game. OSU decided that, hey, it'd be really fun last game. We're going to gank duo early and start our jungler at the speed buff, and we're going to quad pull all the camps, hit level 2 and gank. And I talked about it last game. It worked last game, but sometimes when something works one game, you don't do it the next because you want to keep the enemy team on their toes, and that's exactly what OSU will do here with starting Ao Kuang with the solo mid. But look at this start here right now for Marshall, electing to start their jungler and their carry together on the left-hand side in the carry lanes, in the duo lane, and have their support up here just hovering around. Does Hydra go for a steal here? Does Hydra eat the Invader's Curse and go for a steal? There's no way, right? If this happens, this is a cracked strat. Hydra has to... they don't know Hydra's there. Okay, there's a short pause here. Let's get through this. I must know. I'm beyond mind-boggled. There is no way the Hydra gets to step up and steal farm here. Like, if Hydra keeps all of them from hitting level 2, this is huge. There's the stun. It is. That's good damage. And now Hydra putting forth more effort here to try to steal away the blue buff. Isn't able to steal it away, but is able to steal some farm. And still stealing it away it goes. Does Hydra stall out and keep them from hitting level 2? Oh my goodness. It's such good poke. Poncho almost dead. And Deceitful Ducky's the only one that doesn't hit level 2 here. But Hydra walks away happy as can be, level 1 on this Yamoja, knowing that, hey, I poked out, I got him to use some pots. I mean, like, overall, you can't be mad. Like, you take that dub. You're behind in gold. Who cares? You just got a huge dub by being able to go through and land all of that. And now Poncho is getting aggressive harmed by Dark Exodus here and has to back up. And this is a completely different start here for both teams, as Marshall just coming out with a crazy aggressive strat. And you kind of love to see it. They said, hey, we lost the early game over in duo last game. When by early game, I mean we lost the first few minutes because we got ran at. And then now they say, hey, Hearsay, we're going to have you play a little bit passive under the tower, get your farm, while we try to just slow down the aggression of their mid jungle and solo. And in doing so, accomplish that. I mean, just a lot to gain across the map off that play. And little to nothing to lose. Oh man, Hydra's level 1. It's your support. That's fine. I mean, do you want to hit level 2? Yeah, absolutely. You want to be on level. You want to get those abilities online as soon as possible. But if I'm Hydra, I'm laughing during that. I in the sense of, I can't believe it worked and I didn't die. Because I promise you, if I just go do that play in a casual and a comp in ranked, it doesn't matter what game, I'm playing in-houses. If I go do what Hydra just did, I die. And that's not even a question in my mind. As Poncho gets some great positioning here against Nova. There's the dash imp. Isn't able to follow it up with enough damage, but does poke out the Tiamat. And now there's a fight breaking out over the Gorp over here. And Coopstick just chunking away at Hydra. Hearsay steps up, says, I don't like that. Leave my support alone. And that is exactly what OSU will do here. We're backing off. Back over in the mid. Poncho showing face as this Ao Kuang poking out the damage on the Nova. And now it's going to be Poncho versus Exodus. Who wins in this trade? And right now it's Exodus by a large margin. As Poncho eats a good amount of autos there, and that tick damage can be absolutely devastating against this, with a dodgy. Just ticks away, eats at you, and wow. So now everything else settling down. Go ahead and get some farm here. Pretty chill times. As the farming is back to normal. And honestly, everything's pretty normal despite the fact that, they go for an aggressive play over on the camp side of solo mid, and Hydra is a level behind. But again, your carry's ahead, your mid laner's ahead, your solo's even. You take that dub by invading those camps, and I think it's just an absolute huge play here for Hydra on this Yemoja. I mean, it's not such a drastically. I think it's maybe a full level down, but not much. I mean, you have to be happy with that play. I've been waiting to see some stuff like that from supports, and if that's what comes out of Season 10, like, I'm in full support of some support invades popping off. You won't hear that from many ADC players, but, I'm in support of it. As the aggression is in favor of Oklahoma State right now. They are pushing forward, looking to fight in to this level 4 Yemoja. They go, hey, we don't have to worry about, River's Rebuke. We can fight against you and kind of do some good damage here. The only thing you have is limited parts of your kit, and there's the CC. Hydra is low, but Dark Exodus makes the rotation and puts down Coopstick. That is huge turnaround, and Hydra just goes out and baits a free kill for the jungler. Unfortunate timing there, and we have all been there for sure. And now the Gorp is pulled here by Dark Exodus, and Hydra will fall in favor of Marshall. Left hand Morty is attempting to save that wave, but he isn't going to be able to save it for the carries. He's going to eat that XP themselves because, kind of have to when it's just, the whole wave's getting pushed up, and that's just the way it goes. Unfortunate, but still, Goldie just slightly in favor of Marshall now. Let's go take a look and check out the solo laners again. We see this Tainted Steel build here for free bowling on this chalk, and we talked about last game. Tainted Steel gonna feel pretty good into this comp too. Gonna feel good into Achilles. Really, everybody has healing except for left hand Morty. It's gonna feel pretty good. I mean, imagine Deceitful Ducky is gonna go some healing item on this Yu Huang, but it's gonna feel great against Al Kwong and Achilles and Kurnanos. So definitely a good item to pick up. Again, one of the best or highest pro items in the game. So, take a look at it sometime. Now, OSU looking to play up here in the mid lane in a 3v3, which really it's going to be a 3v2 until Exodus can make the way over. I'm not sure when that's going to be. Poncho looking to step up here and get damage off onto this Yemoja. Not sure if that's the target you want to be pumping your damage into. And now Exodus is here. The dash in's good, and now it's a scary time. Powwow's up, River Rebuke's up, and it doesn't matter. Poncho's already fallen to Marshall here, and they just look to punish that Al Kwong, which can be, like I said, feast or famine. It can be a devastating pick here. Over in the second solo lane, aka the carries, are fighting each other. And Irisay with a slight little lead here on the Ishtar. It's going to be feeling pretty good. Already has the Aussie online. And when you're up ahead in lifesteal, it's going to be feeling pretty good in the carry role. We do see that Poncho decides to go this tablet build. And we have a tablet, or not tablet, sorry, Book of Toth. We have a Book of Toth for the Tiamat too. But there it is. Deceitful Ducky locks in the Tablet of Destinies yet again. We'll have to see how the stacking of that goes this game on this Yu Huang. I'm sure it's going to be feeling pretty good. I'm just curious, and I love to talk about the stacks on that item and how long it takes to stack it, because part of me feels like it's one of those items that you have to slightly int to get your stacks because it's really hard to farm them up sometimes. But when you're an artillery mage like Yu Huang, it's going to be a little bit easier. Marshall pressuring the bashes here. Says, hey, we'd like our free gold, please, so we can come back and buy some more items. And now, here comes left-hand Morty looking for some aggression against the Ishtar. Forces out the dash. Irisay is not going to be able to step up and play pressure for a little bit. We'll hover around their own wave, though. And a good brambles there by Coopstick just to cut off the path. Doesn't get the root into the cripple, but that's fine. We'll make Marshall a little bit apprehensive to fully step up. So you take that as a dub. But look at where the positioning is here of Dark Exodus. Was chasing down Poncho. Instead drops that idea and says, hey, Looks like there's potential over here in carry. Poncho not far behind, though. Going to look for something, I'm sure. Instead, they both just fall off. They don't pressure anything out. They're just looking at camps. But now Poncho making the rotation in, wants to fight. Can they catch Hydra? And the answer is no. But a great root there. There's the ult, but the powwow's good. The River's Rebuke is good. They're trading ultimates. And for what? Who is going to get a kill out of this fight? And there it is. The Blades of Light come through and put down Poncho. Exodus gets out by literally a hair, and now it is time for Hydra and Irisay to continue their farm game that they have been playing for quite some time in this matchup alone. Allowing this Ishtar and Yamoja to kind of stand back is problematic, but you can't aggress on it. And then the Gorp gets aggressed on here. Goes in favor of OSU, but he immediately gets poked out, so it doesn't particularly matter. There is about 1,100 gold lead here for Marshall, though, and that's not something we got to see during game number 1 as we go and watch the solo laners have a slap fight. These supports are really pushing to build their prophetic stacks up as quickly as possible and get that item online. 13 stacks already for Hydra. It's going to be feeling pretty good with the 9 stacks comparison to left-hand Morty. There's the one thing that's annoying about Tiamat. You have these minions. You can just run down a wave and run down a lane. Either which way. It doesn't matter. Really just a distraction tactic. I mean, they will push towers for you, but they're not nearly as strong as they used to be, where they could kind of just run down towers for you along with your wave and just shred it. So at least there's that. Now there's just a way to stop people's backs and be annoying, which is also 100% approved. Stop people's backs. Don't let them back. They're backing in front of you. Say that's disrespectful, and you auto them. Or hit them with an ability. Your choice. Poncho's still looking for something on this Ao Kuang. Wants to be able to, be involved and create a positive presence here. He just really hasn't had a chance to go in and try to get an execute off and just take someone out of the game. But again, there's this, nothing going on. Lots of farming here. Left-hand Morty looking to push something. Hydra was also looking to push something, but nothing happening yet. Here's Dark Exodus hovering around, looking to see if there's a way to catch out Poncho, and there it is. Exodus has to know. Poncho has to know Exodus there. Crossed a ward, and there it is. Exodus just dashes in and does the damage. That is unfortunate. Coopstick does finally get the powwow put on them, but doesn't matter. It's going to beads and walk away. And now you have Hydra over here looking to make a play, but instead they're just going to back off and try to let the waves push that tower so they don't have to worry about maintaining it as much. And Marty poked out here. The Bacchus is not going to be able to come back into a fight before backing. But now it's a question of who's going to be able to poke out a tower or get a pick here and start pulling these neutral objectives like Gold Fury. That's the question. As both mids have tablet, Nova built it later and is ahead in stacks. And that is a unfortunate time when you're a mid laner. And there's no way of fixing that. That's just the way it is. 7 stacks compared to 3. It is just what we like to call it. Feels bad. OSU looking to pressure a Pyromancer here.
Thanks.
But decides that they don't want it yet. They're going to look for a pick first. And I think that's a wise decision. Get the pick, then go to the objective. Get the pick, go to the objective. Unless you just have so much pressure that it doesn't matter. But right now, you're not to that point yet. You're working your way there. 1,700 gold ahead or whatever. You're working your way there. But Exodus puts down Poncho again. Exodus is just on a tear, looking for kills and is finding them against the opposing jungler. Only a level up though, and like that, at least that part feels good for Poncho. So you're only a level down, but this Daji getting active early and often has been problematic for OSU to deal with. And that was a good pick. I think they could have went for a neutral objective off that, but they decided not to. Decide to play it cautious, which is completely understandable. So we go back over to the carry lane. Looks like some action might happen in mid here, actually. Nova pushing out Deceitful by doing negative damage is what I like to call it, because there was no numbers missing. Oh no, left-hand Morty goes in, and I don't know if they knew how many people were going to be against this Achilles, and now left-hand Morty's in trouble. Nova rotates in. Good damage on the Deceitful. The Dueling Dragons are out, but they're off the mark. They don't do anything. Actually, they might have hit, but they did not do anything. That was insanity. Poncho goes for the execute, but the beads are just good by Nova. It saves the life of the Tiamat now. Poncho is the one in trouble and will go down to Dark Exodus yet again. Dark Exodus putting on a clinic right now as this Daji. Again, this should open up neutral objectives here for Marshall, but there doesn't seem to be any call for a Gold Fury right now. I think they're just really, they're kind of worried about the potential of what could happen. They have their lead. It's a little over 2,000, about 2,300 gold for Marshall. And they just have to figure out how they want to play it as the blue buff looking to be invaded here by the Great Value. Great Value doesn't get him. Now Great Value is in trouble. The slow field is good. Exodus is here on the Daji. There's the damage, but it's not going to be enough. The dash, good. Tiamat's here. There is the ultimate, the knock-up, and more. And then gone goes Great Value. Really just a great value out of the ultimates there by Marshall and the awareness of what was happening. The comms here have to be pretty darn crisp, making some plays like that. Marshall really, really doing some work. We do have a tablet update. Deceitful at 9 stacks, while Nova's at 22. Ooh, there's the Blades of Light. They're looking for Poncho so hard, and they're not going to get it. There's the ultimate out of Kurnanos too, and now it's a strange time to be. But instead, OSU will just walk away. They will not step up further at the moment. They do have 4 over here. They could have the advantage, but I don't think they have eyes on everybody they want to see. There it is. Left-hand Morty goes in, but for what? Dark Exodus comes back in, and now left-hand Morty is gone. Will pay for the transgressions of stepping up too far, unfortunately. Now the tower is gone. Go strip some more farm. Looks like it's going to be the neutral objective, the Gold Fury. To line their pockets up with a little bit of extra gold, finish out some items. Keepstick looking to come in and try to get a steal. Can OSU steal this away? They try. Marshall locks down the Gold Fury. Right now, Marshall is being dominant with an 8-0 presence at the moment. And right now, if you're OSU, you have to figure out who is it that you can kill. Like, who is it? Who's the person that you need to take out? Because if you can figure that part out, the objective might become a little bit easier on how you want to play the rest of the game. But currently, there's no answer. I mean, right now, it's an 8-0 lead as far as kills for Marshall. And that's a variety of reasons. But it is worth noting. Going through builds, both carries have Rage. Rage is really good right now. Prophetic Cloak built on both the supports, along with Gauntlet of Thieves for both. Some differences in stacks here. favoring OSU, but what's not favoring OSU is Marshall stacks on the tablet, which is still wild to me that people value that item so highly. Other than that, pretty standard build for jungle and for the solo shots to building Tainted Steel. I mean, I talk about anti-heal all the time, and the reason that I don't like the tablet build is because of the lack of anti-heal. And here we are. And when people go, you're an ADC, build anti-heal, I'm like, what way, bro? What am I building anti-heal with? Nothing. Holy Dragon's coming through, isn't able to capitalize off of it. Now left-hand Morty is in trouble, and left-hand Morty will fall. This is huge for OSU. They can look for something if they so choose. But I do think they have to be careful which of these objectives they try to pull. And right now the answer is nothing. They're not going to do it. Poncho's here. Poncho steps up. Now Exodus goes, cool, let me dash in real quick. Put it into that. That's exactly what happened. Now OSU steps up, looks for the Pyro, isn't able to get it. They have to retreat as the Runic Bomb and the Pyro go in favor of Marshall here. Now it's just kind of back to some quality farming, I suppose. As both ADCs, same build. It's pretty fun. Solos starting off the builds the same first. Going, the breastplate regrowth, going the Glad Shield. Let's see how this goes. And again, we're just kind of back to farming, looking for this poke, looking for it to lead to something. And right now, Marshall is just happy to have the lead they have, up almost 5,000 gold. I expect them to keep playing the same way, methodical and taking their time. They're not ones to rush. I've seen it a couple of times as far as a fight goes, but they're not going to rush into a 5v5 and lose a 7k gold or 5k gold lead. That's not something they're going to do. So I imagine they keep playing quick and methodical, realizing where each person is, and then taking that information and going, okay, well, where we can play, where can we make a move at? If we know where all the pieces are on the chessboard, then we can make a better play. So Marshall's pretty much thinking that way at the moment. OSU needs to decide who their target's going to be. Who do they need to take out next? If they can get that target down, who's the next target? Is there picks they don't want to see next game? I mean, like, I think right now it's safe to say that, you could really have a conversation deep down with your teammates about what went wrong here. But you could also have a great conversation with your teammates about what went right and how you can improve from it, which I think a lot of teams could use that conversation. Because OSU's not playing bad. They've just been on the bad end of several fights in a row. As Gold Fury is pulled here by Marshall. Great value, looking for something, but isn't able to capitalize off of it. OSU getting aggressive here, looking at Hydra. I don't think that's the target you necessarily want to work at. Pretty tanky is the Emojo. But they do own the pit here, so they can kind of do or try whatever they want to. And it looks like it's going to be a Primal Fury. And if I'm Marshall and I have vision of this, I am leaving and going to fire. I'm not even thinking about stepping up to this. But that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to take a moment. They're going to think about going in. They're going to blink. And OSU secures the Gold Fury. And Marshall is unsuccessful in trying to steal it away. And now Irise picks up another kill. And this has gone from bad to worst for OSU. Poncho falls, and this is just absolutely clinical right now by Marshall. Not overtaking their position, making sure to only take things they can. I mean, it's been great play here by Marshall, really controlling the pace of the game here, controlling how they want OSU to play. And OSU has not found a way to counter it as of yet. here comes the siege. Marshall looking to siege. They don't even have Fire Giant. They're not worried about it. They're just going to go and take the tower down as Nova takes out Deceitful. And this is astounding. Marshall's members now backing up and said, hey, we can spend that gold that we won.
Suffer thee no more.
It's still about it's about a 5,600 gold lead in favor of Marshall. And I think right now, if you are OSU, you need to start warding this Fire Giant pit. Like, just ward this bad boy. You want to know when they're stepping up to it. You want to know when they're even getting a thought about going to take that Fire Giant without a consequence. I think that's kind of the move right now. Not sure if that's what's going to happen, but I feel like that's the move if you're OSU. You got to get some deep wards out and find out if they pull some shenanigans like they did last time, that you just go ahead and start, start doing it. My brain just like absolutely stopped, Jet. I had a whole thought process there, and I said the word shenanigans, and my brain just said no. It just stopped. And that's sometimes the problem with solo casting, by the way, is you kind of get, like, your own brain just tells you no. Great value, getting absolutely poked out and dominated here. Free bowling will pick up the kill. Dark Exit really playing a part in that one. It's now Nova picks up another kill. And this is a scary time. The M40 also pulled in. That's exactly what Marshall wanted. They wanted to, again, be clinical. They wanted to get their picks, and then they want to step up to the Fire Giant. They want to make sure they're going to be able to take this without any repercussions. That's exactly what they do here. Marshall looking like a whole different team game number 2 as they drop the Fire Giant around 26 minutes. And look to run it down the lane. I think it's going to start with left lane. They're already over there. The wave's pushed up, and it's more so why not type of movement. They're going to wait for the wave here. They don't want to tank any of it, which is kind of surprising. I feel like they could, but that's okay. Marshall gets the tier 1. Now looking for a tier 2 on the right-hand side here. There it is. Just doing your standard clear a lane, go to the other lane, and make sure there's no tower standing. And then you'll be fine. Marshall goes and grabs a runic bomb for their sieges, which is going to feel pretty good. And OSU is still like positioning rather aggressively as, a few, trying to find a way in. Right now, it's 15-0 kills wise. They want something. It hasn't been for a lack of, OSU not having people low health. They've gotten them low health. They just haven't been able to get the kill. And that's a rough time. That's a rough feeling. So we go and we look at the player damage charts, and it is everything in favor of Marshall at the moment. And then it's all 5 of OSU after the top 3 of Marshall. So. But that Tiamat putting out 24k damage is going to feel pretty fun and interactive. But it is worth noting that Tiamat has the tablet stacked, and Majin's still, sorry, not Majin. Oh my god. And Deceitful is still working on it. Sorry, I was DMing with Majin before this cast. That threw me off. I was thinking about Majin playing mid, bro. That's where I'm at. Look at this. Look at this. Marshall steps up and goes, cool, let's Riptide in. Let's see if we can just get a Phoenix. Riptide's good, and now they're fighting over it. They're not afraid. Poncho goes in, looking for a kill. Poncho just gets shredded down. Marshall picks up a kill there off of a counter initiation. Back on the Poncho, and they just shred through the Ao Kuang. That is wild. The tier 2 in mid is the next thing on the menu. It will fall in favor of Marshall. Seafull opening the door, looking for some damage, and finds it. Now Marshall not giving this up, staying aggressive on this left-hand side. They want it. They're going to try to get a kill for it. Their shells popped. There's other relics popped. This is dangerous game OSU is playing right now. And here we go. That is the left side Phoenix finally falls. You have Phoenix in mid, under half health, and Fire Giant is fixing to spawn again, and this time it will be enhanced when Marshall drops it. And Marshall's actually just going to back here. Go ahead and get their items going. That Deathbringer's going to be feeling pretty good on Ishtar, mind you. Got Bloodforge and Heartseeker online for this Daji. And right now it's Marshall with 0 deaths in the deaths column. Just straight goose eggs down the board. They have been running this down. And they've played it relatively cautiously. They're not over-aggressing. You've seen it maybe once, but so far they've just played very, very clinically. They are making OSU think about their decisions and have their decisions going the way that they think they should, and then engaging. Hydra said, I'm tired of waiting. I'm going to go ahead and pull FG. And it's Marshall with the FG dance has begun. Hoopsteak talks about standing up and doesn't. Now, Fire Giant about half health. OSU's Titans under attack here. Ao Kuang is still there dealing with that. Now Fire Giant is low. Irsay picks up 1. The Fire Giant is dropped here by Marshall. And just they decide to pick up a kill, and they get 3 kills for nothing. And Fire Giant is still going to be theirs, and it's going to be enhanced. What a great play there by Marshall. And now it is time to siege a Phoenix yet again, and Fire Giant is going to help them do that remarkably faster. Especially with Pyromancer bombs. Runic bombs is going to feel pretty good on these Phoenixes, as we'll see momentarily. They all 4 step up. And there's the Runic bomb, and boom, there it goes. The left bird is down. The middle bird is down. The right bird is going to be going down right about now. And Marshall just putting on an absolute clinic right now of how to competitively play Smite. Like, hey, yeah, we're winning, but slow it down. Or, yeah, this is happening, but, we're getting this across the map. Marshall playing very, very well after going down early in game number 1. Game number 2 has been Marshall. And that's about it. We'll go for an Oni Fury here as well. So Oni Fire Waves are going to feel really good in this Titan room. Looks like Marshall is going to push up the left-hand side here. And they probably want to go ahead and make sure that Phoenix doesn't get a chance to respawn anytime soon. Marshall in debate about how they want to do this. Marshall is hanging around on this Phoenix, waiting for it to respawn so they can just auto it a couple times and take it off the map. Here it is. The Phoenix is responding. Marshall is there. There, it's gone again. And Marshall is grouped as 5, and they have to be looking to end the game here. They have to. They have enhanced fire. The waves are down. You have Oni fire waves pushing. Surely they come up here and in the practice, right? Oni fire waves in mid, left, and right, all pouring into the Titan room. Can OSU hold out? Can they stall this game a smidge longer? And OSU is in trouble. I don't think they can defend this. And that's going to be game number 2 to Marshall as they pick up some more kills. A great route. Irise finishing off a couple more. And Marshall takes game number 2 in a dominating fashion. Chat, I do want to apologize for game number 2. That is not my best casting. Sometimes when I solo cast, I just have a really hard time concentrating for a long period of time. And I think it's because I didn't get up and walk around in between the games last game. So I am going to get up, walk around real quick before game number 3 comes up. As Marshall just absolutely dominated game number 2 here. Not a single death in the death column for their team. All of these picks were good. Ishtar, good. Tiamat, that's why you don't let it through. I mean, just everything was good here. Hydra continues to impress as a support player on this Yamoja. But honestly, there was a really good play by Marshall. Yeah, Poncho, that's part of the thing is, like, it's hard to talk about a game like that sometimes when... And this isn't a shot at y'all, because I've casted many games like this. Like, it's hard to talk about a game like that if one team gets such a big lead. The only thing to talk about is, like, hey, how does OSU come back from this? Like, what should they be thinking about for the next game? Which, like, I did a little bit of that, but, like, that's not always super entertaining. I think there was a lot of fights for you guys in that game specifically. Like, you guys went in, and then, like, targets got really low, and it just didn't work out for your favor. Like Smite just did not want to give you a kill, and that sometimes sucks. I've played plenty of those games in comp. Like, it is incomprehensible how many of those types of games I've played. Because you guys had, like, good positioning to take a fight, and then you'd get them low, and it's like, oh, we're losing, and how are we losing? So I think that's super hard to deal with. But I am going to take a smidge of a break before game number 3. But I will be casting game number 3 in just a second. I just want to get up and walk around for a second, and then I'll be back. I'll put some music on for y'all, though. right, chat, we're back. Sorry for the delay there. I grabbed a mint while I was up. I think that was needed. Help out a little bit. All right. If you're just tuning in, hey, I'm solo casting, and I apologize about my poor casting game number 2. I didn't cast very well. And I'm aware of that. But part of that, it's for a few reasons. I did a lot today, and I just didn't do a good job. So I do apologize. I feel like I definitely could have done better, and I definitely should have got up and walked around in between games. It always helps me when I do that. Even when I'm casting with somebody, just getting up and walking around for like a minute or two just helps me like reset my brain and do everything. So I do apologize for that. But if you're just tuning in, here's what's going on. We're in game number 3 of Oklahoma State University versus Marshall. Game number 1 went in favor of Oklahoma State University. Game number 2 went in favor of Marshall. And now we're heading into game number 3, and this will determine the winner of the set. So keep an eye out for that. Poncho, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Also, thank you for like contacting me about games and getting you guys casted. We've been trying to get this done for a couple weeks, so I do apologize. It turns out like some of them worked in my favor when like I had my power go out, and I was like, dude, it'd be awesome to cast, and my power was out for like 3 days. But thank you for keeping me informed and making sure I could get to some of y'all's games. If you guys are new around here, I'm Blaze McBain. I run a podcast. I'm on the Bot G Battlegrounds to Gods podcast. I run my own YouTube. Obviously, I do Twitch. I've helped with AGL in the past. I cast on the side. I have many hats, some would say. But if you ever want your games casted, reach out. I'm always happy to get them casted for you if I can. I will be out of town Wednesday and Thursday this week, so that's gonna put a hamper on getting some games casted if you need me during those times. Tomorrow night, I think we're playing our AGL set tomorrow night. If we are, I'm going to try to cast after the set if I can. I'm not going to guarantee that'll happen, but I am going to try to cast that. If I can't cast it tomorrow, I'm going to send those match IDs over to Albion Giants, see if anybody wants to pick them up for Oklahoma State University versus Louisville. So keep an eye out for that stuff, but we're going to head into game number 3 here. That will determine game set match of Oklahoma State University versus Marshall. Curious to see kind of what I think the bans are going to change here, right? I think picks and bans probably change here after that game. But along with that, they changed sides. Oklahoma State said, hey, we want first pick. And I get that. So I'm going to continue to get my saltwater taffy. Let me talk about these bans. Umoja Tiamat off the table from OSU. And we've seen why last game. Umoja offers a ton as a support. Has great healing. Can just lock down an area. Stun. Or, root. All that good stuff. You can't turn that down. Tiamat got the minions pumping out damage. I mean, there's just so many good things about Tiamat bursting people down. And the soul is still off the table here. And then again, Marshall going the pretty understandable route here. They get rid of Hades, they get rid of Surtur, and they said, hey, we don't want to see Kronos after game number 1. So now, Oklahoma State University instantly locking into Freya here. Have to see how this is played. And we're going to see our first look at Maui possibly here for Marshall. Freya, talk about that first. Does really, really good damage. Early game can sometimes be a little bit rough. Has been better. Have to see how she plays into Ishtar. I think this lane does go in Ishtar's favor. But it depends. If Coopstick gets online on this Freya early on, it's going to be hard to ever fight back into it. But you have a Maui, you have an Ishtar together. It's a lot of aggression. It's a lot of CC. And some movement speed going on over there. And then you have Maui being able to do kind of what Umoja does in one way, in the sense of taking an area out of the game away. You do landfall, boom. Well, you can cut off corridors. You can make it where they can't escape. It's not just a knock-up. It's not just beads burn. It's a way to section off part of the map in a team fight, and that can be devastating. As now, the look here for left-hand Morty, I believe this is going to be support Horus, and I do love me some Horus. Being able to teleport the team around, being able to, get that stun, interrupt a lot of things that the enemy team wants to do. Healing, I think, is just very, very good. And then you have the pinnacle mid balance himself, Agni, locked in here. Haven't seen him the first 2 games, but definitely one of the best mages you can pick in the game right now. And curious to see how this goes for Deceitful in this mid lane. Double mage right now picked up here for Oklahoma State University. And now the question is, what is the valued pick here for your last pick before phase 2 bans for Marshall? What is it they want to take off the table? What is it that they want on their team? And it's going to be this Neja from the looks of it. Banned away game 1 and game 2. Can't imagine it's going to be a rough time for this Neja. I have a feeling Neja is going to be absolutely scary in the hands of Dark Exodus, especially after what we saw game number 2 on the Daji. And now we're in the ban phase. What is it that Marshall says, hey, we want to get rid of? We know they need a solo. We know they need a jungle. Do they go the Thor Thanatos route of taking things away? They say, hey, we don't want to deal with that Fenrir again. Probably a smart pick. Fenrir really did a lot of work game number 1. I expect that Marshall's also going to ban a Thor, but we'll see that here in just a second as we wait for Oklahoma State to do their first ban of phase 2, and it's going to be a hell ban. They said, yo, we don't want to see more healing. And honestly, I feel that. So getting rid of the hell here, I think that's really important. And not only that, hell does a lot of damage. Y'all be sleeping on hell. But she does do good damage in Dark Stance and allows some prot shred and things like that. So pretty good bans here. We are waiting for one more ban out of Marshall here. I have to think it's going to be the Thor. I can't imagine they let Thor through after they banned it the first 2 games. And they are. It's Sasano they're going to ban away. They say, hey, we don't want to deal with the aggression that provides. Sasano, you're able to get around the map pretty quickly, has the knockup, has the pull, just has good damage overall, and they take it off the board. And this leaves Oklahoma State University going, who is the last person we want to take away? And I think they're going to ban another mid laner, and I think it might be like a Merlin, if I had to guess. Maybe a Morgan Le Fay. We'll have to see. It's a Cuckoo. It is a mid laner, though. Not surprised to see that ban either. Cuckoo really good right now. Tornado's good. Ult's good. Cuckoo good. That is the story to be told here as we wait for these last couple picks to come through. These first phase picks for second phase picks for game number 3 is where we're at. And the question is, what is going to happen here? What do they lock in? What is it that Marshall values in the spot? What are they leaving for last pick? Are they going to pick a mid here? Are they going to pick a solo? Part of me feels like they want to save their mid laner to last. And I think they might lock their solo here. And they said, hey, fool me 1, chalk on you. Fool me twice, chalk again. Fool me 3 times, still playing chalk. Free bowling. It is all about that chalk, dude. And over on the side of OSU, they lock the Cuckoo lane, but they also pick up a set. And I do love me some set. We'll have to see how this pick ends up panning out. And to counter that, there it is, the Hera here. And that's going to feel really, really good for Marshall. Just having that Argus you can drop down. You have that movement speed shield combo you can be dealing with. I think this is a great pick for mid lane for Marshall. It's going to allow a lot of play around it, and that just has to be good. But let's head in to game number 3, Oklahoma State versus Marshall. All right, chat. In game number 3 here. Let's see how this goes down. We've seen different starts from both teams, both games. And we're not to be disappointed again. We're going to have another different start here. This time, Marshall not sending their support to go steal away farm from the jungle solo mid quad pull. And they will just stick with their normal kind of ish starts here, what we've seen across the board. It looks like both teams are going to elect to pull at least 2, maybe 3 camps on both sides here for the duo side, and the standard start over in the support mid jungle side. Something crazy here. Actually, both duo lanes just doing the 2 camp start. And as a reminder for those who are like, man, why they started doing that? Well, you know, patch 10.2. They gave it and said, hey, the green buff has HP 5 that heals the other camps. And, you know, you don't want to pull too many camps, so why you can just heal them for free. So that is why. Never actually thought about running behind the pit here. I actually think that might be faster. I've thought about it. I've calculated it in my brain, and it seems like it might be a smidge faster. But also maybe not, because, you know, Marshall got to lane faster, so I don't know anymore. They do have Ishtar Maui, though, and I feel like that comp just goes hard with their clear. So, nothing too crazy on there. And now we're back into a poke and prod game number 3 here. And usually when we see sets go like this, the sets slow down a little bit. You know, they typically fall off a little bit and say, hey, we're going to play a little bit more passive. Left-hand Morty says, I'm not having any of that. I'm going in. But look at the wards here for both of the duo lanes. They have wards in the exact same spots almost. Dark Exodus walks across to one. They know this Neja's there. The question is does Dark Exodus decide to step up? But in the mid lane, Nova's in trouble. Poncho on the set looking for the kill. Is it going to be able to be finished? The tick damage there, and finally Poncho picks up the first blood on this set, and that's a scary time if you're Marshall. The last thing you want to do is get a set online earlier than it already is going to be. If it gets a kill, and this could be problematic if anything else comes of this. It's the last thing you want to deal with is a set early on that's, you know, speeding up his processes here. I do have to say, set, sometimes hard to play late game, but the comp they have around it this game should make it a little bit easier for this set to dive. To be able to, you know, dive in with the Koopa lane or dive in with the Horus. And that should feel pretty good. So we'll have to see how that pans out over time. It's Eye of the Jungle start for both junglers here, which is going to feel pretty good. Dark Exodus been waiting forever and a day for Poncho to pass through, and Poncho does, and Poncho, no way, gets out. Absolute insanity that is allowed to happen. I 100% thought Poncho was going to die there. That's wild. This is the one thing you do have to worry about when you're picking Freya into this enemy comp, is the fact that, you know, she's going to clear this slower. And you're not going to be able to clear as fast as an Ishtar Maui. So it's going to be a little bit of a slower pace for Coopstick. I think, you know, once we get into like that level 7, level 8 range, you know, Freya's going to come online. Freya's going to feel pretty good. You're going to be able to fight it. But as of right now, it's going to take some time to get there, and you're just going to have to play a little bit back. You're going to play a little bit passive. If you've been watching my games when I play ADC, you've noticed that like this passivity that I've been having to play with because of the way junglers and mids are able to gank over my lane. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think ADC is a role that, you know, if it gets a little bit behind, it's fine because you probably catch back up later, or you get to a team fight and you just make up for it. As long as you're hitting your buttons, that feels pretty good. So I think it's really important to go and get mid and solo ahead, mid-solo jungle, while you can. I think it's really important to get those roles ahead. Obviously, if you can get your support ahead, that's huge. But, you know, ADCs, I feel like it's kind of meh. I don't think you have to get a lead. I don't think a lead necessarily does anything for you because you're just going to farm as it is. It's literally, I literally call it second solo lane now, because it's technically that. You're just not as tanky. Oh, look, there it is. There's the ganks I was talking about. Naja had made the rotation over. The landfall. It's good. Coopstick in trouble here. There's the beast, but neither Coopstick or left-hand Morty are level 5. Coopstick tries to do something, but there's nothing to be done, as they just get a free kill over on the left-hand side. Marshall is being heads up about where the Freya was. They're going, hey, Freya's not level 5. Freya's not level 5. She can't just do Valkyrie's aggression and get out. And that's exactly what happened. Was level 5, couldn't ult out. That fight definitely goes differently if she has hit level 5, has her ultimate. But now, over in the mid lane, you have Dark Exodus attempting to go for Deceitful Ducky. Ulted for it, didn't get anything. And that's in a rough time. Dark Exodus getting active early and often from the jungle this time. And I hear a Horus ult come crashing down. Along with pulling some good old buddies there for some extra farm. Now we wait, as fighting has become minimal, and farming is the move at the moment. Hydra looking at Poncho, this kind of little stare off there happening in the jungle. Neither of them hit each other. They just kind of stare at each other and then go about their opposite ways. And now Poncho says, I'm not going to do that again. You're going to get some poke from Skewer. And left-hand Morty comes through and says, hey, I'm thinking the same thing. Let's get some poke off. And that's exactly what happens here. But look at Dark Exodus positioning. Looking to try to see, could there be an aggressive play in the mid? As of right now, there's not. Over on the left-hand side, Irise is looking and saying, hey, can I confirm this buff? And it can. Steals away the shield. And on the right side of the map, you have Poncho fighting over camps. And unfortunately, all those camps are going to go in favor of Marshall. Nothing to talk about or brag about as far as XP goes for Poncho there. That's a rough time when you've stepped up and you pulled those camps, everything was fine, then someone comes over and just goes boop and steals away your farm. So it's a big feels bad. But now we're back to, again, farming away. This game's practically dead even. Honestly, there is a first blood gold bounty lead in favor of Oklahoma State, but as of right now, that's not much. It's not anything to really write home about, but it is a lead nonetheless, which probably has to feel good for Oklahoma State after last game, where they got off to a slower start and got put behind early, and that kind of just spiraled out of control. So having this early lead, even while it is marginal, is going to feel pretty good. And look at this. Oh my goodness. This is what happens to me in my Smite games. And the ring bounce hits, and then it was followed up by an Ishtar ult. Coopstick able to avoid all of it with the Valkyrie's aggression and get out, but that was a scary time for the Freya. Now Poncho making the rotation over. There's the sash, now paying the price of not being able to catch out where Exodus is. Now they're looking to steal away the corp. And will they be able to do so? No one knows. And they do. Poncho confirms it. But then left-hand Morty picks it up. Now Poncho's dead. And it's a 4-man rotation over by Marshall. And that went from, hey, that's not too bad, to bad real quick, as it's a 2-for-0. And Marshall gets a Gold Fury. And this is what they did last game. Last game, Marshall played patient, and then said, time to go, and then they ran it down. And now they're doing the same thing in game number 3, where they just take away a Gold Fury. I think it's the fastest Gold Fury of the set by far, at 8 minutes and 23 seconds. The other ones were quite long before we saw like an objective fall. So happy to see that. Also going, what the heck is happening over here, as Great Value just stays under the tower and eats tower shots for at least 17 days and gets to walk away scot-free against free bowling, which is kind of wild with this Kukule. That is a tower in favor of Oklahoma State, which is going to be good. It's going to offset the gold margin. But now we got to be able to, play aggressively towards other things if we want them. And that's what OSU has to be asking themselves. Like, what's our plan now? Our solo went ahead and got the tower. Can we rotate him over and do something? Where do we need to be? And the question is, do they know where Dark Exodus is? Because Dark Exodus, again, making a play in the mid lane, looking to be aggressive, and left-handed Morty has to get out and gets ulted anyway by the Neja. Now having to do something. There's great value. Deceitful still here. Poncho's there as well. But is it enough? Is it enough to be able to fight against this enemy team? Is it enough to be able to step up? And right now, OSU is fighting back in the best way possible. Deceitful really putting out some good artillery strikes here. Look at this, Poncho. Again, it's a good rotation, but I don't know. I don't think if I'm a set, I don't know that I want to go fight a level 11 Ishtar when I'm level 8, but Poncho is not to be dissuaded here and will, in fact, go in against this. And honestly, I think the Ishtar could probably just turn it around and end it herself, but instead eats a ton of damage. There's the golden blades, but they don't do anything if you don't hit the person with them. And there it is, Poncho pops the beads, but there's no follow-up. She gets out as a spam laugh comes through from Irise. And Coopstick puts down Dark Exodus. What an unfortunate chain of events there for Exodus. Now, OSU still playing aggressive here, even though left-hand Morty practically is dead. There it is. Chalk picks up the kill. But now great value, and Poncho are still fighting, but it's not going in their favor. Trying to get artillery strikes out is Deceitful. Pyromancer pulled here by Marshall, and I don't think OSU is going to be able to contest it very, very well. Oh, good damage by the Agni here, and now looking to finish off a kill. Again, they just get out by such a little amount, and Coopstick now falls. And this is how it went during game number 2, where it seemed like OSU would be able to get a kill, and then the kill just walked off alive. And that has to be rough here and weigh in on your mental, at least some. I know, speaking from my experience of comp, that's definitely how it feels. Again, just looking at everything here. Nothing crazy lead-wise. There's a 1-level lead in solo and in support, but there is a 2-level lead in carry. That is pretty significant. You already have a rage stack for this Ishtar. Has to be feeling good. But for the Freya, you already have Telekines and Hastened. She's gonna be looking to run you down. Other than that, nothing too crazy. Pretty standard builds. We do see that Nova is not going tablet. But Deceitful is. So, curious to see where Divine falls in these builds, as I think you're going to need it if you're on either team. But shoutouts to Deceitful for being the fastest person I've ever seen stack tablet. Every time I've seen them buy it, they just go burr and get the stacks done. It's kind of wild. I've seen a lot of people build that item and then not be able to get it stacked even the slightest. Because they're not able to fight, and that's what ends up happening, and that's tough. I'm a little bit surprised to see Bloodforge this early for Poncho. Not that it's bad in any means, I'm just surprised to see that's where that item ended up falling. OSU looking to keep their 1,300 gold lead, despite what happened in their school affairs the other day. Oh, Landfall connects with 2, pulls both of them in, and now they're having to retrieve Deceitful dash. So did left-hand Morty, and that was a great ultimate there by Hydro. Again, Hydro, we've already given credit to this set for just fantastic play on the game number 1 with the Kepri, but now, showed off the Emoja, now showing off the Horus. has to be pretty happy about the play that's going on here. And Hydra looking to ult in near the Gold Fury, and does. Looks like they might save the life of Great Value. It's a lot of damage. Oh my goodness, Poncho gets put down. Left-handed Morty is down as well. Coopstick trying to return to kill is not going to be able to. Oh, this is just absolutely scary. Because one wrong move, and, you know, it goes bye-bye. And Oni Fury's still up, being looked at here. But watching the rage counter, you know, Ishtar already at 3 rage stacks is pretty important. It's also worth noting that our Hera already bought Divine Ruin, so shoutouts to them. Shoutouts to Nova for buying good items, and not bad items that people say are just good, and they're kind of meh. Not buying items that are good in quotation marks, and then that have an inting passive that you need to stack. A little scuffle there over on the near the left-hand back green camp, but nothing to worry about. Pretty straightforward, simple going. Oni Fury is up, so I expect that we probably try to get that at some point. We want to keep that out of the hands of Marshall if you're OSU. They're like, hey, last thing I want to do is give up this Oni Fury. So how about we find a way to step up and stop them from doing so. And right now, it's not looking too good as they're taking a tier 1 tower. Great advantage though, and it does go down anyway. There's the landfall. Landfall only connects with minions. That's kind of huge. But now Nejah's here. Nejah takes up Coopstick, and that's problematic because Coopstick is really low in health now. Has to go in Valkyrie's aggression to try to live. And Morty backs off, but Deceitful is still there. Holy, oh, there we go. It's a good bit of damage off on that wave, helps it clear, so you don't have to worry about that pushing in. And Oni Fury is pulled here by Marshall. Now the question is, can OSU steal it away? This gives them a huge fighting chance if they can. Gold is about even right now, so it's all down to this Oni Fury dance. Good banish there. Nova has to age us out. This could be huge. Oh no, Nova comes through. Argus is just too good. It doesn't matter they have Horrific on them. It doesn't matter they caught him. Nova gets 2. Exodus gets 1. And now it leaves 2 of us up. Poncho and Coopstick are on the defense here. And they're going to run up to Gold Fury and see if they can find anybody to pick off. Dark Exodus is low back here. Poncho headhunting this. Oh, Poncho's going to be able to get it. There it is. Chasing down Dark Exodus and is successful in doing so. But now Hydra not too happy about that. So shows up. Looks to attempt a... thing, and I just couldn't. The dance around the Oni Fury continues. Been here for a few minutes now, and the question is who's going to pull it and who's going to get it? Is it going to be the same team? Is it not? Who knows? But Oni Fury is on the menu. I think it has to be a conversation of do you want to abandon that and try to go for a cheeky fire play. I don't think that's going to pan out, so I don't suggest that one. I definitely think this is the idea, but hey, who knows? Now we're back to farming. Looks like there's a little bit of a poke here, but it's Marshall again stepping up and finishing off a tower. Now they have both the tier 1s down in mid and in duo side. Really just wait on the one for in solo to fall. And I don't think that's falling anytime soon unless they group as 5. But Marshall doing everything they can to try to maintain a gold lead. Oh my goodness, max range landfall lands on Deceitful. Deceitful now up in the air. This Meja doing just absolute work here. Left-hand Mori going back in, trying to get kills off, trying to do something. Left-hand Mori getting punished. Irase finishes off the kill. It's all 5. Marshall running it down. They say, we want more. Poncho in trouble. Great value in trouble. Coopstick is decently healthy. Doesn't look like they're going to have to worry about any of them dying. Tier 2 will fall in the mid. It's Marshall looking for the Pyromancer. Go ahead and get that bomb back. And OSU has, the next thing that Marshall wants is this Fire Giant. But where is Marshall? OSU is over here by themselves. This is a pull. This is what I was talking about. If you're OSU, if you could get a cheeky fire pull, this might drastically benefit you. And right now, Marshall's over on Oni Fury, and they are none the wiser. Oh my goodness! If we go right side if you're OSU, if you go right side, that is gonna go hard for you because you can definitely take that tower. And they're not even halfway done with Oni Fury. This is just dummy free. As Great Value is the only one there, so that's a super fun time. But it should shred once he's there. Tier 2 will come down in response on the solo side now. OSU putting some work in here. Now they got the Fire Giant buff. Trying to even out that lead, but now Marshall comes back in. Left-hand Morty gone, and it's great value that's being looked at. And this Argus is absolutely doing work. This is what I was afraid of. I talked about it before the cast started, that Argus, and what Hera want to do is they have that little bit of movement speed. They have the shield. They have the drop down of Argus and the damage it provides. It's just very, very good. It's annoying to deal with. It's not that it's OP. It's just annoying to deal with. Marshall already has one up in the air, coming back down. Coopstick is gone. Poncho being looked at has a great ultimate going off here, trying to turn this around. This is the problem when you see set. Kingslayer does just go off if you can get it working. And now, so far, so good until Deceitful helps pick up the kill onto Nova. Poncho was in a scary place there, but what's happening on the left side of the map during all of this? Irase goes through and takes away the left side bird from OSU. Crazy good play there, just being heads up, knowing what to watch out for. Marshall gathering around the tier 1 and left. I don't even know if the Bastions have 22 minutes in the game. I don't even think the Bastions have a single piece of damage on them in this lane. That is wild. It is. Good job. Marshall looking to turn this fight. So far, there's the landfall. Poncho picks up the kill on Irase. This might go in favor. Maybe not, as now more support has arrived. Oh my goodness. Marshall picks up a kill. Left-hand Morty. Nova doing work with this Argus, and then the combination with abilities. Deceitful Ducky throws out a bomb, but it's not close. It's not good enough. Hydra still floating around up there. And boom. Dark and Duxty have gone home to the gray screen, unfortunately. It's a place I call home. And then Dark X has pissed up another kill on the Coopstick. And this went from relatively even to Marshall just looking to extend and provide a little bit better the lead. And right now, if you're OSU, you made the right play with the last Fire Giant. You were able to sneak away the Fire Giant. You did end up losing a Phoenix off the backside of all that, but I don't think that's the end of the world. I think you continue to push up those episodes, so that way you don't have to worry about it. What is going on with my brain, bro? It is not operating. I have like 6 thoughts going at one time, and none of it's good. I haven't been this bad in like months. And it only happens when I solo cast, but God bless it, dude. I thought I was over this, my brain doing weird things shenanigans. And Marshall does get the Pyroman, so they're actually a really good play there because they get great value off of the landfall, figuratively and literally. And now they're going to be able to push this fire because they have fire waves pushing in the left-hand side. This is huge for Marshall. Marshall is going to be able to pull this Fire Giant, and they're going to be able to bait a fight if they want to. They don't have to fully commit to this. They don't have to stay positioned on the outside of the pit. Where Dark Exodus is looking for a way in, looking for the Agni. Chipping away at it is Marshall. Marshall looking to get the Fire Giant here, but they need to be careful. There's a lot of people around that want it, and OSU not only wants it, they steal it away. And now Marshall is trying to make them pay for the transgressions, and Poncho instead goes, hey, you know what's really cool? A triple kill. And now Dark Exodus gone. It's a quadra kill for Poncho. He's looking for the Penta. Can he get it? There's free bowling going across the wall. Poncho trying to chase this down, wants the Penta. There's the blink in. Will it happen? They got the gold, or the Fire Giant steal. They get a quad. Can they get the Penta? And there's the backup. There's the stun. It's going to be an unofficial one if it happens. And then free bowling falls. There's the unofficial Penta for Poncho. And now they have what they need. They can go for a tier 2 in mid. This is a huge turnaround for OSU after being down for the past like 5 to 7 minutes. They're able to turn it around with an awesome Fire Giant steal and then an unofficial Penta for Poncho. They did lose their left side bird again to the fire minions, but that was a huge turnaround for OSU. Brings them back into the game, puts Fire Giant on a couple, and brings Poncho into a asserting lead here, trying to carry the team and put them on the back and say, hey, this set is going to set us up if we can just do what we need to do and play as 5. Another landfall connects with great value, though, and that could be absolutely problematic. Instead, bailed out here and don't have to worry about it too hard. But now it's going to be the Bastions finally going down at almost 30 minutes into the game in this left side tier 1. And now Marshall stepping up to defend that tier 1 tower is just absolutely wild to me. But Deceitful Ducky eats a ton of damage. So does Coopstick. The carries are just getting destroyed for OSU. One down. Here goes another if Deceitful can't get out. And they can't. There's the double. This has gone absolutely wrong for OSU after a great turnaround. They're getting chased out. There's 5 running down the left lane for Marshall. They want to end this game. Poncho looking for something, steps up. Poncho might get caught out here. I don't know. Can Poncho make it to the fountain? The answer is yes. Getting back to the Titan room. It is 5v2 plus the Titan, and it's a long way to go for a respawn. They're going to have to find something. Poncho just got that unofficial Penta. Can they make something happen here? The CC is good, and Poncho is put down. And now Marshall is seeing it in their grasp. They are going to end this game and take game number 3 to end the set. Oh, man. Hydra's cracked, dude. Hydra's my MVP of the set, y'all. Hydra played support so well the whole entire time. Really, really good. Great play there. I mean, honestly, like, it looked like OSU was going to be able to turn that around. Oklahoma State gets that crazy Fire Giant steal. They almost get a penta. They start running it down, and then they just stayed too long before regrouping. That's unfortunate. I've been there. That's actually how we lost our set last week, is we just stayed too long. We made a bad play, and we literally lost almost the same way in our set. Crazy times. I hope everybody's doing well. Hey, thanks, love. I appreciate that. I do hope everybody's having a good night. I apologize. My casting was a little bit off tonight. I just, had a really hard time focusing for some reason. I haven't had that happen in months, though, while solo casting. I don't know what's going on. It's specifically with 3-game sets, I have the biggest problem of concentrating a long time. If I have someone with me, it's fine.